Many people have their reservations about flying, whether it inspires fear of heights, sitting in coach, or acquiring in-flight germs from other passengers. Either way, an airplane gets you to your destination at a fraction of the time of what driving an automobile can do at a slow crawl. Then again, the friendly skies are full of bizarre phenomena, from the discovery of 92 skeletons aboard an aircraft to a squadron of fighter planes vanishing. Here are the 10 world's biggest aviation mysteries. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos every day. With that being said, let's begin. Number 10. Santiago Flight 513. A missing jetliner, suddenly reappearing in the sky after 37 years missing in action, was an alarming event for the ground crew no less, at Porto Alegre, Brazil, in 1989. First, a little history lesson. On September 4th, 1954, Santiago Flight 513, a model Lockheed Super Constellation, was carrying 88 passengers and 4 crew members, leaving Aachen, West Germany, to traverse the Atlantic Ocean and arrive in Chile. A standard flight that was nothing out of the extraordinary until it mysteriously vanished, never reaching its destination. In 1989, air traffic control personnel spotted the elusive 513 flight that seemed to materialize out of the clouds, stacking around the airport until finally landing safely. Seeing that the plane remained incommunicado with control tower upon its final approach before taxiing to an idle stop, an eerie presence hung over the airport. After entering the plane, authorities encountered a macabre sight, with all passengers still strapped to their seats, reduced to, well, skeletons. Even the plane's captain, Miguel Victor Curry, was still poised at the controls, obviously working himself to death as a skeleton. A journalist named Erwin Fisher wrote an article for the Weekly World News on the strange incident, pitting the tabloids against a flurry of opinions that a potential hoax was at play. But the matter would not be laid to rest, except for the passengers and crew found on board anyway. The only logical theory, according to Dr. Celso Otello, is that the Santiago 513 flight entered a wormhole, a concept to accomplish instantaneous leaps between 2 points in the space-time fabric of our universe. However, if this is true, one Professor Emeritus Rodrigo de Manha raises the point that the government is obligated to share this knowledge with the rest of the world. On the surface, we have to assume, for every time we book a flight, that the next generation doesn't find our skeletal remains. Number 9. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. In recent memory, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 was a Boeing 777 jetliner that mysteriously vanished from the radar on March 8, 2015, while in transit from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. It was carrying 239 people on board before silently perishing into thin air. The fallout surrounding the Malaysian government's apparent lack of disclosure involving key events after its disappearance, with the contingency it was still flying per detection by military radar, is as mysterious as it was tragic. For this reason, many people can draw any number of theories to arrive at a consensus to dismiss all the guesswork floating around. However, search and rescue mission deployments have turned up fruitless discoveries, yet casting a further shadow on the grim disappearance. Of course, there's a small percentage of people who attribute the mystique surrounding the MH370 disappearance to alien abduction. Online images of a purported black box that recorded a strange message, tapping out a distress code on the location of the downed airliner, foundered under the weight of gullible minds. Nonetheless, many suspect that the Indian Ocean is the belated site of the accident. Number 8. Flight 19. On December 5, 1945, a squadron of TBM Avenger bombers departed Fort Lauderdale to undertake a routine training session, from locating targets to bombing tactics, and a process known as dead reckoning. The last component of their mission was designed to gauge their navigational skills using a compass to keep their bearings. There were 14 trainees distributed amongst the 5 planes, headed by Charles Taylor, whose mysterious disappearances birthed the fable of the Bermuda Triangle. This equidistant stretch of water in the Atlantic Ocean covers 1.5 million square miles, connecting the Bermuda Islands to Miami before terminating at Puerto Rico. Although the day was clear, Taylor would lead his comrades further out to sea, where they'd eventually meet some inclement weather conditions, with his compass going kaput, losing all points of reference to guide them. After a brief exchange of transmissions with air traffic control, Taylor seemed to deviate his team off into oblivion until all hope vanished. Literally, a search and rescue team were dispatched to salvage the missing squadron, only to experience the same fate. The exact cause of their disappearance remains unanswered, deepening the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. Number 7. Flying Tiger Line Flight 739. In 1962, the Flying Tiger Flight 739, a Lockheed L-1049 Super Constellation, was a sizable aircraft that would venture from California to Vietnam, punctuated by 4 stopovers, including Honolulu, Wake Island Airfield, Guam, and Clark Air Base in the Philippines. It would never reach its final destination of Vietnam, confounding search experts to recover any parts of the missing plane. It was a standard flight, transporting 93 U.S. soldiers, 3 South Vietnamese passengers, and 11 crew members. A plane slated to last 6 hours following its departure from Clark Air Base. Only 8 minutes into the flight, Flight 739 established its position while maintaining radio communications with control tower personnel until it became a vanished blip on their screen. A comprehensive search and rescue mission ensued, sweeping 200,000 square miles to locate any wreckage, but to no avail. Although many eyewitness testimonies report contrails and a brilliant streak of light in the sky overhead that day, authorities contend that no debris or bodies were found to dispel the mystery. Number 6. Japan Airlines Flight 1628. On November 17, 1986, Japan Airlines Flight 1628 was a cargo aircraft traveling from Reykjavik, Iceland to Anchorage, Alaska, with an original flight pattern beginning in Paris and terminating at Narita International in Tokyo. Helming the aircraft was Captain Kenju Turachi, along with co-pilot First Officer Takanori Temafuji and Flight Engineer Second Officer Yoshio Tsukuba. During the flight, Turachi identifies 2 strange objects tracking alongside their aircraft, maintaining a level position for some time before shifting rapidly in front of the cockpit. Turachi reports feeling a radiance of heat generating from the object's power thrust, mobilizing the 2 craft in what appears to be a game of cat and mouse. After some technological sleight of hand designed to warp the crew's perception of anything but earthbound, or so it appears, the 2 objects dart erratically off into the horizon. Here comes the weird part. Even though Turachi declines military assistance to suppress this foreign object in the sky, Anchorage ATC informs United Airlines Flight 69 and a separate jet to fly within range of visual contact. The aftermath of this strange incident sets off a whirlwind of an alleged UFO encounter by Captain Turachi and his crew. However, the FAA and US government, mediated by agencies including the FBI, CIA, and President Reagan's scientific team, co-signed the incident to secrecy. Number 5. Pakistan International Airlines Flight 404. A bare minimum of information exists surrounding this next entry on our list, but this seems to be a common thread among many aerial disappearances. On August 25, 1989, the Pakistani aviation industry was rocked by the mysterious vanishing of a Fokker F-27-200 Friendship aircraft while en route from the northern city of Gilgit to the nation's capital Islamabad, conveying 54 passengers for a routine domestic flight. Shortly after takeoff, the pilot made contact with air traffic control at 7:40 to confirm their position, only to evaporate from radar, eliminating all contact. The Pakistani government launched a search and rescue effort with auxiliary support from civilian search party brigades to increase the chances of finding survivors. The end result was no wreckage, let alone any bodies were found. However, there is speculation that Flight 404 crashed in the Himalayas, somewhere near Nanga Parbat, but this is purely guesswork for now. Number 4. Varig Flight 967. Many aircraft disappearances are often hard to explain away, with a lack of any wreckage found, an unaccounted death toll, much less a leading motive that contributes to a rather large missing piece of the puzzle. However, you might give pause to ever shipping expensive collectibles by air freight, as thieves can resort to some pretty low methods by aiming higher when it comes to capitalizing on stolen goods. Perhaps that's the story behind Varig Flight 967, a Boeing 707-323C cargo jet that departed from Narita International Airport in Tokyo, en route to Rio de Janeiro, Galeão International Airport, with a stopover in Los Angeles International. With 6 crew members with varying flight time experience, the probability of hijacking a cargo aircraft with a flight manifest containing the signature artwork of a Brazilian painter named Manabu Mabe seems open and shut. It is said these showpieces tally around $1.24 million, and, as coincidences go, returning from a Tokyo exhibition serves as the perfect heist for one Carmen Sandiego or greedy aircrew. However, balancing out this theory with no supportive evidence can only leave us wondering that its disappearance 30 minutes after takeoff, some 120 miles from the mainland, is nothing more than a coup from a shifty crew. Number 3. 2003 Angola 727 disappearance. Airplane disappearances don't get much more perplexing than this next item on our list. On May 25, 2003, Ben Charles Padilla, a pilot and aircraft mechanic, alongside assistant John M. Mutantu, commandeered a Boeing 727 from among a fleet of former American airline jets at Quatro de Fevereiro International Airport in Angola. The details surrounding the men involved with the jumbo jet's disappearance has provided no evidence in the way of numerous theories that point to insurance fraud, to illegally smuggling contraband to a terrorist plot. A few clues paint a sketchy picture, as Padilla and his cohort were enlisted to repair the said jet, which was leased by an Angolan liner. However, Padilla seemed to have an agenda from the beginning. On the pretext of servicing the aircraft, he and Mutantu decided to man the cockpit, despite their intelligibility, and proceed to down the runway, with air traffic control's futile attempts to communicate with them a lost cause. Without navigation lights and transponders turned off, the jetliner climbs over the Atlantic Ocean, leaving behind a wake of mystery. The Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and CIA conduct an investigation, but no debris from the wreckage was ever found. Number 2. BSAA Star Tiger. These last two topics on our list share a similar fate, so let's see if we can connect the dots. On July 29, 1948, the BSAA Star Tiger departed Santa Maria, en route to Bermuda, aligned on a direct path with Arvo Lancastrian, surveying weather conditions ahead. Eventually, foul weather rolled in, throwing off the electronic instruments that would cause the pilot to stray off course to meet a fateful end. A search and rescue expedition would not find any trace of the missing aircraft, echoing a familiar superstition linked to the Bermuda Triangle. With all the disappearances of vessels and planes that fall within these cursed geometric boundaries, one theory of a space-time warp could be the missing link, on the off chance it's more than science fiction. Number 1. BSAA Star Ariel. Now, coincidences are purely accidental, but it seems downright eerie that only a year later, the BSAA Star Ariel met an identical fate as the Star Tiger. Once again, on January 17, 1949, the fated plane departed Kindly Air Force Base, en route to Kingston, Jamaica, losing contact with air traffic control over the Atlantic Ocean, becoming yet another statistic to the Bermuda Triangle. If history repeats itself, it seems like an unwritten rule that passing through these waters has deadly consequences. Do you actually think a time warp exists in the Bermuda Triangle? Could that explain why a plane shows up 37 years later with 92 skeletons on board? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time!